Sanbanan Dumlang, hello, it's Simply Sfisa here and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Simply Do the Work. And this is another week of ASMR because I'm recording this the same night as the previous episode. So the time now it's 11:42 p.m. so I cannot be loud, so I'm being as soft as possible but also trying to project my voice into this microphone. And so before we get into today's episode, just want to say if you enjoy the podcast and not yet subscribed, please do subscribe and remember to share the podcast, and also feel free to reach out to me at Simply Sfisa on YouTube, Instagram or Twitter is where you'll find me. And so today's episode I kind of want to talk about lessons on taking care of myself. And so full disclosure, I'm recording this without any notes, just want to talk off the cuff and just chat whatever comes up, because it's actually something I've been thinking about a lot now. The irony of me saying that is that I've been working myself near to death this past week. Actually, this past week I think I've recorded maybe 5 to 6 podcast episodes. I've also been trying to study hard for an upcoming test that I'll be writing, and I've also been trying to attend all my classes, which has been a lot. It's been a lot. And so I feel like I've been pushing my limits, but starting from next week I'm going to take it easy, because I feel like all this work that I've been doing was sort of setting myself up for success. And now when I say that I've been thinking about taking care of myself and all that, it's because some of you may know that I think it was in May, I had a brief I spent a few hours in hospital because I had a really bad case of peptic ulcers, stomach ulcers. And it was seen that one of the main cause seemed to have been stress, because I didn't have any of the other risk factors. I don't take NSAIDs, I'm not aspirin, grandpa, I don't really drink those. Even though I do have an issue of headaches, I normally drink paracetamol, and I haven't drank alcohol in forever. I don't smoke. The only other thing is maybe I have an H. pylori infection, but I'm gonna just the doctor said it's stress. I'm just gonna believe them since they're more qualified than me. And so what I had noticed ever since I got that diagnosis is that whenever I felt I was really stressed, I'd start feeling pains in my stomach, or even chest pain, which I recognize as, those are the symptoms of ulcers. And so that would be signs for me to okay, I need to take a step back, I need to slow down. Sometimes maybe I'll be okay, let me just take a nap, let me recenter myself. And one of, I think, the hardest decisions was actually stepping down from the LGBTQ plus group that I've been starting, or not me, but I've been working with other people, to start, and so because I just felt that was one of the biggest stresses of my life. And so I remember just sending a long paragraph and being yo guys, this thing is taking a toll on me, I need a break. And only one person responded to me, which, not gonna lie, as I'm recording this, I'm still salty about that. It's literally been a month and I'm still salty about that. Maybe I should see a therapist about that, but that's neither here nor there. But I think I feel like I'm someone who a lot of people tend to say, oh my gosh, Sfisa, you're so organized. Oh my gosh, Sfisa, I wish I was as disciplined as you. And it's y'all don't know, I am if you could see the inside of my brain, it's a mess up in here, I think I might even have high functioning anxiety, but that is something that I'm looking into, seeing just how to manage and cope and all of that, because I do think that right now, especially people, I'm sure this applies to all age groups obviously, but I feel especially people who are in their 20s like me, we feel a lot of pressure to succeed, a lot of pressure to be always hustling, always on the grind. I talked about how with my YouTube channel I was working myself to death, and for what? For what? Now you might be but so didn't you say you were recording 5 to 6 episodes this week? Yeah, it's true, right? I did sort of push myself in that regard, but I'm gonna take my time in terms of editing, right? Because I think it's something people don't realize, that when it comes to creating content, so much work goes into it. It's not just like me coming up and talking here, right? There's first of all the time of me thinking. Like, I don't think people understand how this content stuff will be on your mind like 24/7. Like, I've had sleepless nights because of like thinking of an idea of a video or a podcast. Then there's research, right? If like, especially for the type of content I make, I have to do my research, right? It's such a labor-intensive process to do the research, and then planning the episode, right? Like writing down the notes or the script, like thinking, okay, how am I going to structure it? Does this make sense to bring my message across? And then you sit down and record, and then even like editing is a whole process, because I have to listen to it through and see, okay, any other like I try on editing not to take out too many things, so like I try to do. I've noticed, like, if I do like the pre-recording work properly, then when I'm editing I don't have to do that much work, right? Because I find the structure, everything will make sense. I don't have to edit that much. But sometimes editing will be a nightmare of its own. And then there's getting it out. And so it's really just to take my care of myself. I had to really like choose what can I remove from my life, right? Obviously I cannot, if I have a test date coming up, I cannot move that test, right? I cannot say this test needs to go away. But the other things, right, like that group, right, the LGBT group that I'm a part of, that is something that I volunteered for, right? And obviously, yes, I think there's a conversation about, take accountability, because you can't just, flake on all your responsibilities because you're feeling stressed, which is, I feel like now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, I need to get back into that group, but I've kind of been enjoying my life without it, which sounds really bad, but it's honestly the truth. It's not that I don't care about the work, but it's really stressful. I think being in like the beginning stages of starting something, like all the work that goes on behind the scenes, on top of all the other responsibilities I have, right? And then there's my YouTube channel, right? I chose to have a YouTube channel. There's this podcast. I chose to do this, right? And so those are the things that I have control of. Like, okay, you know what? Let's take a step back. And so even like all these episodes which I have recorded and stuff, right? Even have a YouTube video that I recorded also this week. Like, I'm in no hurry to get them out, right? I'll look at my schedule when the time allows. I'll edit them, put them up, but I'm no longer putting that much pressure, because I realized with everything, even with academics, I put so much pressure on myself. It's like, for what, right? Literally, for what? Like, why am I putting myself through all of this pressure? Just things that I'm constantly thinking about, right? And I feel like I'm someone who, I feel like my body always reacts when I'm more stressed. I remember in second year I was really stressed, for like 2019. I think I've spoken about that infamous year so many times. But that year I used to get really bad headaches. Like, those headaches would get so bad to the point where I just lay in bed because I can't do anything, and it was just my body reacting to that stress. Like, I'm the type of person who, like, I feel like it could be with the fact that I, like, maybe my coping mechanisms aren't like the healthiest, and so the stress ends up manifesting on my body because I internalize so much of it. And so, even like right now, like after recording this episode, I kind of don't really know, right, like when I'm gonna put it up, or like there's so much I don't know, and I think I'm slowly, for once, feeling comfortable with that. Like, I'm such a, like, I love having, like, I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but I love knowing, I'm someone who I love to plan every minute of the day, because I feel like I get things done better that way. But I also get super frustrated when things don't go according to plan. And there's this quote that I used to love that says, life is what's happening while you're making other plans. And I feel like, I thought I got it, but I feel like only now, I'm slowly getting it. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the thoughts I just wanted to share with you guys. And, thank you guys also for always tuning into the podcast, and also supporting me on YouTube and just listening to rants like these. Like, I'm sure the next episode, whatever it'll be, like, I have tons of ideas for that. I'm sure the next one is going to be a lot more structured. So, and I won't be recording it at like 11:51 p.m. So I'll be able to talk much betterly. Barely is not a word, but that's neither here nor there. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you so much.